Hello and welcome to a video that I tried to record today at 3 a.m. and it's now 3 p.m. because I recorded this and then I listened back to it, which I don't normally do because I don't really like listening to what I have to say. I found myself annoying. But apparently some people manage to make it through these videos. I don't know how. But I listened back to it just because it had been recorded at 3 a.m. and it wanted to make sure I didn't say anything crazy or stuff like that. And listening back to it, it was basically me rambling for 20 minutes, and there wasn't really a coherent story, so we're just gonna do it again and actually, tell a story this time. I had planned one ahead of time, and I haven't planned one ahead of time now. But yeah, I suppose I should introduce this since, some of you may not know what this is. This is Decameron. Arsmalik uploaded a video a few days back where he told a story that Decameron is a series of, it's not a series, it's a collection of fiction from 13th century Italy. I think it's 13th century. It's from Italy, and it was a long time ago, at least 10 years ago. It tells the story of some people in the time of the plague. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Anything over 10 years ago is ancient history. Anything over 30, like, if you're 30 years old or older, right? Ancient. Like, to me, it's a whole nother time. Dinosaurs probably still roamed. Yeah, long time ago. But yeah, that's what this is. So he posted, he told a story. I can say coherent sentences. He told a story, and then he's like, "Yeah, you guys tell stories," and so that's what we're gonna tell a story. I don't have a story planned, but we're gonna tell one anyway. I do know a little bit about the world now because I did the first 20 minutes. So I know kind of what cave is, but it was 12 hours ago, so I don't really remember much, so it's kind of like an adventure. Besides, it's the story that's more important, not the exploration. This is a village, and he referred to it as Fiesel, which I don't think is how it's pronounced, but I don't know any better, so I'm pretty sure. Now, I'm gonna butcher this Italian pronunciation, but I think he's referring to the city that's north of Florence. Is it north? The city that's near Florence. Go with that. And I think that's Fiesole, although I don't know. I don't speak Italian. I barely speak English. But yeah, because I think that's the city in Decameron, or the villa, or whatever it is. But I don't know, I've never read the Decameron. I just know what I've picked up in European history classes throughout my short existence on this earth. Alright, so, story. I need to think of one sometime before noon, so then I can talk for like 15 minutes. And, it'll be great. Special rules for this, just can't destroy stuff in the village, and, yeah, I'll tear this tree down, it's fine. And can't make beds, because as soon as sunup comes, you have to end the episode, because that's the end of your time. So, we have to tell our story before then, and if we make a bed, then it becomes sunup, and our episode's over, so no beds, because it's just a waste of 10 minutes of your time that you could be using to ramble about stories. So I'm going to try and think of something interesting to talk about. The first topic is just open topic, so we can talk about anything we want. Say we. I can talk about anything I want, as long as it's a story. There should be a cave over here-ish. Yeah, there it is. so this zombie doesn't, you know, light me on fire. What should I talk about? Hello, zombie. I hope you are having fun. I'm just gonna hit you. There you go. Okay. I suppose I could just tell the story of me. Not a particularly interesting story, but I haven't got anything kind of off the top of my head to talk about. So, and I know my own life fairly well, I think. I'm not really sure, though. Like, it could be false memories. I'm getting a few lag spikes here and there because of something that's going on in the background, but we needn't worry about that. So, I guess this is the story of me. My name is Hawkminer, if you didn't know that. Most people do. It's actually what I go by in all weeks of life, clearly. Everyone in my school just calls me Hawkminer. My yearbook says it. It's definitely true, and I'm not lying to you. But my story. So, years and years ago, I was a wee lad, and you know, I didn't really fit in with the other kids. I know that that's hard to believe, but I prefer to kind of like learn new things, I guess. Like back then, like in the good old days of elementary school, everyone liked school. It was a fun experience. You showed up, you would color and paint things, you'd learn addition and subtraction. I don't know what math we were in, but you know, I was never really satisfied with that stuff. So when everyone else was kind of getting into sports or going to the pool, when people would go on family vacations during the summer, I mostly stayed home, and I would not necessarily just read books, because my reading wasn't at the point, at least not early on in elementary school, where I could just read anything I wanted to myself, and I couldn't just look up online articles, because back then the internet was kind of not a newfangled thing, because it had been around for a while by the time I was in elementary school, but it was more of a, like, my parents were still looking at it, and young kids weren't really put on the internet, whereas, like, nowadays everyone has smartphones. So I would just basically go to my parents and they'd be like, oh yeah, here's something cool. I think that it was around the time that I was actually given a Game Boy Color. We didn't really buy anything new, so it was from a garage sale. And that was my first experience with video games. Or really games of any kind, because the only other game I had played before that, like other than like Peekaboo as a baby or something, had been checkers, because we played that a lot in school. So my experience with games was basically Winnie the Pooh's Adventures. I don't know what the game was called, but it was something like that, which I couldn't actually play properly because I couldn't read all of the words. So I'd have to like hand it off to my parents, and they would tell me what was going on. And then I would get the Game Boy back and play it some more. And then I don't know when I played Pokemon for the first time, but that was when I started making like real friends. Was around the time I started playing Pokemon. Because like most people were into sports, and I was into, I don't know, not sports, which wasn't really normal. I got stuck in baseball for a while, but I never really fit into that whole thing. Anyway, so moving on, years pass, and I was introduced to World of Warcraft. I had played other games by this point, just years later. And that's kind of like, World of Warcraft was one of the first, like, actual playing with my friends games that I was really into. Like, prior to that, games that I played were pretty much solo. So, like, Pokemon, like, you can talk about it with people and show them your cool stuff, and we had the battle cables, and we could connect them together and trade and fight and stuff, but it was more of a solo game. It's the solo campaign. World of Warcraft, though, you play online with people, and that was really cool. And I don't remember how many years after. So I played World of Warcraft for a while, but at some point in the middle of that, I also picked up Minecraft, and that the time where I played World of Warcraft and Minecraft at the same time was like one of the peaks of my life. Like, that was when I really felt that I had grown as a person. So I had a friend that he had actually introduced me to World of Warcraft. And I originally was on a free trial, and then he's like, so do you like this game? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. You should pay, and then we can play together after school every day. And I was like, all right, sure. And then I went to my parents and I said, will you pay for this? Because I don't have any money. And they said, sure. We love that you actually talk to people. And so they paid for it. And so he actually introduced me to Minecraft, which I had kind of looked at previously, as it was kind of like becoming a thing, I guess. Oh, I'm taking damage. I also didn't go to the blacksmith, which I've just realized, so we're gonna go back up there. I'd kind of looked at it, and like he'd shown me the different stages of it as it was coming out back when it was pretty much just a plain of, I don't even know if there was grass. I know there was lots of stone, but he kind of brought me back to it. So I ended up registering an account sometime around then, and that registering of Minecraft was probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made. I think in events that have like majorly impacted my life, I think being introduced to World of Warcraft, which brought me into the world of like talking to people online, and then playing Minecraft, which was this huge community building basically exercise where or not, well, yeah, exercise, experiment, where people were brought together by this common interest in this type of game, where people told stories through creation and stuff like that. Both of those were major impacts on how I developed as a person, which you can judge now, but I don't know. I think I turned out alright. So, because of Minecraft, after a couple of years of, you know, having the opportunity to play that game, I was actually able to save up some money and attend Minecon 2013. And at this point, a lot of my friends had kind of moved on. The people that had introduced me to the game still looked at it from time to time. They still thought it was cool that I was going to this convention, but they had kind of, I don't know, tired of the game, I guess. But I was still interested, so I went to this convention. I had watched parts of the previous ones on the, I don't know if I actually watched them live. I know I saw parts of them, but I don't remember. I might have watched them after the fact. But I had seen this somewhere, and I thought, oh, this is awesome. I saved up money. I convinced my mom to just sit there and watch the ticket screen so I could try and get tickets. Managed to get 2 tickets because previously we had believed, and I don't even know for sure like that this wasn't a thing, but there was some kind of age cap as to like what you had to be to attend this convention alone. And I know that's been changed at least once, but I don't know. Like, when I was getting these tickets, I was convinced that I needed an adult for some reason. I don't know if that was true or not, but I ended up bringing my mother along, which was actually kind of cool. She didn't know a lot about the game, but you know. But I attended Minecon 2013 as a fan, as someone that was a like hugely supportive member of this community, where I didn't produce the content that people were really attracted to, but rather I was attracted to people's content, and I wanted to get a chance to meet all of these awesome people that had impacted my life. So I ended up going to this convention, and I showed up, and I did all the things where you wait in line for the big panels, and you get the signatures. I've still got a sword with, I think it has over 100 something signatures on it. I've forgotten the exact number at this point, but it's got signatures from all these people that I watched online, all these people that had like influenced me, who had basically taught me everything I knew about the game up until that point, and even beyond the game, who had taught me a lot of like vital life lessons that I still carry with me to this day. And so after that convention, I was really pumped. I went back home. People were like, "So how was the convention?" I was like, "Oh, it was amazing." They're like, "What'd you do?" And I said, "Well, I sat around, I listened to people, and I asked people for autographs." And they're like, "So you went to a convention about a video, and you paid how much for this?" I was like, "Look, man, I enjoyed it." So a little more time went by. I kept playing the game. Things kept coming out. I played other games, but I always came back to Minecraft. As you can see, I'm still here. And last year, wow, it feels weird saying last year, but it was last year, there was an opportunity to go to another Minecon. And this time, so to Minecon 2016, I managed to get tickets again, or I actually did get 2 tickets, but that's a different story. But I went to this, and I wasn't going as a fan this time. Like, I still was a fan of the game, but this time I was attending the convention as it felt almost like I was attending more as a community member. So it was a chance to see all of the young kids who I used to be, and that was really cool. And so I got to be one of the people that was there to meet up with friends, to meet up with influencers of this community, and almost as a chance to be one of these influencers of the community. So I got to see my friends on panels, which was really cool, because before they had been kind of like celebrities that I was watching on panels, and now I was watching people that I had talked to give these panels. I was watching people give advice on things that I had experienced, and watching other people learn from this, and that was probably one of the coolest things ever. I'm not sure, like, and when I explained, oh, that was a Skype message, I apologize for interrupting my story. And a lot of people are kind of like, well, you didn't give a panel, you weren't a stage presenter, you were still there as kind of one of the little people. But it was less, I didn't feel like a little person. I felt like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was cool. All these people, these younger kids. I met this really cool dad who had gone out of his way to try and get his kid a ticket. They had managed it, and he was there, and he was waiting in line. And I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, my son, he really likes Minecraft." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." And he's like, "Yeah, so how long have you been playing this game?" I said, "Well, it's been a few years at this point." He's like, "Have you been to this convention before?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "My son is having such a fantastic time meeting people that he never dreamed of meeting. And I'm like, yeah, I was there once. That was totally me. And that was kind of like a shocking moment to me, that I had grown in this community, not in position, but in perspective, where I understood both spectrums. I understood the young kids, and I understood the older kids that I had seen there all those years ago, who had helped make the community that I had joined, and now I was continuing on their legacy. And that was fantastic. And I appreciate every single person throughout the history of this game that has given me the opportunity to be part of something so awesome. Oh, it's almost the end of the night. That's about my story up until modern day. My experiences. I guess that wasn't really the story of my life, but that was the story of my connection to this game. That was the story of my influence from the internet, I guess. And a couple of you listening have been large influences on me, and I appreciate that. So, just so you know. Alright, now that we've had that very close little discussion, that got a bit deeper than I'd ever intended. But I guess that's what you get when you start to just talk. Where are we going to set up? I know Ron was setting up over there. Floney is set up a ways away, because they don't want to get infected by the plague. This zombie is chasing me, but I want to kill this skeleton. Thank you. Also, apparently want to freeze midair. Okay. I can't aim. There we go. Good. Is that day one? Just about. I think we'll set up over here, but that'll probably get done in the next day. So, thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you next time, if there's another one of these. Otherwise, I'll just see you in the next video. Alright. Goodbye.